The vastness of the galaxy where countless species thrived and countless civilizations rose and fell. The humans were considered the weakest of all the intelligent life. Their fragile bodies and short lifespans made them seem incapable of the feats that other races performed with ease. They lived on a pale blue planet orbiting a modest yellow star, unnoticed by most and underestimated by almost all the alien empires who ruled star systems with fleets and weapons of unimaginable power. Laughed at humans and called them insignificant vermin. Yet the humans had a stubborn persistence that no one could understand. They built civilizations that struggled against the elements. They carved empires from barren lands, and they endured diseases and disasters that would have ended other species with ease. The humans worked tirelessly. Their societies grew chaotic and imperfect, but they always survived, and in their survival, they learned to adapt to any challenge, no matter how insurmountable. To the alien observers, this was nothing more than stubbornness or foolishness. They saw the humans fighting each other over trivial matters, wasting their resources, while the galaxy around them perfected war machines that could annihilate planets. Yet despite all appearances, the humans carried within them a dormant power so ancient that even the oldest of the alien races had forgotten its magnitude. They carried the memories of war gods encoded in their very DNA, warriors who had once reshaped entire galaxies in their infancy. Their instincts slept, waiting for the moment when the right pressures would awaken them. And that moment was approaching, slowly, unnoticed by the stars that had learned to ignore Earth and the tiny human colonies scattered across the void. On the frontier world of Cathera 7, a remote colony at the edge of human space. The settlers went about their lives unaware that the galaxy was watching, and that their actions could trigger events that would ripple across civilizations. The Catherans were mining a rare crystal essential for energy production, and every day they risked their lives against harsh storms and unstable terrain. But they were not alone. A fleet of alien raiders from the Vraxis Dominion had been monitoring them for weeks, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. The humans were considered weak prey, and the Dominion commanders were confident that the colony would fall without resistance. Their ships moved silently through the void, cloaked in shadows. The humans on the surface went about their tasks, oblivious to the danger, until the sky lit up with the arrival of the alien vessels. The colony's sensors screamed alarms, and the settlers froze for a moment in disbelief. They had heard stories of raids, but the stories always involved losses. Quickly contained, not an invasion fleet poised to annihilate everything they had built. The leader of the colony, Captain Alara Nash, shouted orders, rallying the workers and militia into makeshift defenses, even though most of them had never fired a weapon in their lives. She could feel something stir deep within her body, a pulse of instinct that told her what to do, even though her rational mind screamed that they were hopelessly outmatched. The raiders struck first. Laser fire tore through the mining structures and human vehicles exploded into burning fragments. Yet amidst the chaos, Alara moved with a speed and precision that no one could comprehend. She dodged debris and returned fire, taking out several of the raiders with shots that seemed impossible. Given her training, the humans around her began to follow her lead instinctively, reacting faster than they should have. Their coordination became uncanny. Their fear transformed into a controlled fury that shocked the Vraxis watchers hidden behind their battle stations. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Small, fragile creatures moving with such lethal efficiency. In the first hour of the attack, they inflicted more damage than the humans should have been capable of. They were untrained, they were exhausted, but they fought as if memory of battles long forgotten surged through their veins. The Dominion fleet began to reassess the situation. Panic spread among the raiders as humans who should have been terrified displayed an unnatural combination of courage and instinct. The humans rescued each other from collapsing structures and coordinated counterattacks with an effectiveness that made veteran alien commanders question every assumption they had ever held about the species. By the end of the day, the human colony was battered and scarred, but it had not fallen. The few surviving raiders retreated in confusion, unable to comprehend how creatures so small and seemingly weak could have resisted their overwhelming power. Ilara stood among the rubble, her hands shaking from exertion and adrenaline, but her eyes gleaming with a fire she did not fully understand. She had felt it deep within her, the echo of something ancient and terrible that had lain dormant for millennia. The humans who survived gathered around her, their faces showing a mixture of awe and disbelief. They had done the impossible. They had survived, a force that should have destroyed them without even knowing they had tapped into something far greater than themselves. The galaxy had long dismissed humans as fragile, insignificant beings, yet the events on Cathera 7 were the first hints that this dismissal had been a grave mistake. Somewhere in the shadows of space intelligence agencies and fleets of other alien species began whispering warnings of an anomaly that could not be explained. Humans were no longer just prey. They were awakening predators, and the stories of their past glory as war gods buried in myth and fear were beginning to stir in the records of those who dared to remember the warnings of old civilizations that had encountered them long before the present age. The humans themselves did not fully understand the magnitude of their potential. They only knew that they had survived, they had fought, and something within them had changed forever. The stars had begun to take notice, and the galaxy would never, again, look at humanity the same way. The survivors of Cathera 7 returned to their daily lives, but nothing felt the same. Their hands still shook from the battle, and their hearts still raced as if some invisible drumbeat of war had awakened inside. Them, the humans who had once been ordinary settlers, now carried a quiet confidence and a simmering intensity that could not be explained by training or experience. Word spread quickly across the human colonies of the frontier about what had happened, and whispers of awe mixed with fear traveled through every settlement. The humans who had survived began to test themselves in small ways, moving faster, reacting sharper, strategizing more effectively than ever before. Even children who had seen the chaos displayed reflexes and coordination that seemed beyond their years. The Vraxis Dominion refused to believe their defeat was real. They assumed it was an anomaly, a fluke that could be explained by luck or miscalculations of terrain. Yet, when their intelligence reports from other systems began showing similar patterns of humans resisting far superior forces, the Dominion leaders grew uneasy. Their arrogance could not account for humans who seemed to learn in real time, who seemed to anticipate every move and strike with precision that could only be described as instinctive across the galaxy. Other alien civilizations took notice. As the news of Cathera 7 reached their ears, they had always dismissed humanity as weak and slow to adapt, but the stories could not be ignored. The archives of the Zentari Council contained records of encounters with humans in the distant past. Civilizations had risen and fallen at the hands of creatures that looked like modern humans, their memory preserved only in myth and warning. The Council called for a conference to discuss what was unfolding. The human species had awakened something that the galaxy had feared to name, and none of the attending species fully understood how to respond because the humans themselves did not yet understand the power that surged within them. Meanwhile, Captain Ilara Nash traveled between colonies offering guidance and leadership. She became a symbol of hope and resilience, inspiring humans to embrace the instincts that had saved Cathera 7. She organized training exercises not with the intent of creating armies, but of helping humans understand their potential to react and think in ways that seemed impossible. The humans were discovering that their minds could process situations faster than any computer could calculate. They could strategize and improvise, and their bodies responded with reflexes that seemed predestined, as if some ancestral memory had awakened in their DNA. The Vraxis Dominion launched probing attacks on smaller colonies to test their theories, but each attack ended in humiliation. The humans adapted to every new weapon and tactic, and their counterattacks became increasingly daring and effective. The aliens could not comprehend how a species with no history of interstellar warfare could suddenly become such formidable opponents. The humans themselves were starting to understand that fear was a weapon of the enemy, and courage was a force multiplier that could turn the tide even against overwhelming odds. Across the void in the Galactic Council, the alien leaders debated fiercely. Some called for containment strategies, while others argued that humans should be eradicated before they could fully awaken. Historical accounts of previous wars fought by humans long ago warned that once the species realized its full potential, no defense would be sufficient. Yet the humans remained ignorant of the full extent of their powers. They only knew that instinct and determination were guiding them to survival and victory. Small groups of humans began conducting expeditions beyond known human space mapping systems and encountering alien patrols. Many of these humans survived encounters that would have killed any other species. Their tactics were instinctive. their movements precise and deadly. They did not need fleets or advanced weaponry to emerge victorious, because they could anticipate danger and strike with efficiency that no alien could match. The reports sent back from these expeditions reached Alara, who studied them carefully, and she began to understand the emerging pattern of awakening that was sweeping through humanity. Every human who faced extreme pressure seemed to unlock more of the dormant power lying within them. Some could move faster than eyes could track, others displayed strength and resilience that defied their apparent physical limits, and all of them shared a singular trait: an unbreakable will to survive and to protect those around them. The Vraxis Dominion sent its best generals to confront the humans directly. A fleet of their most advanced warships approached the human territories with the confidence of invincibility. Yet as soon as the humans engaged, they discovered the same unexplainable coordination that had saved Cathera. 7 humans moved through asteroid fields with fluid precision, ambushing ships with minimal losses to themselves. Their small fleets became unstoppable predators, striking and retreating with a cunning that alien commanders could not predict. Each engagement left the Dominion fleets demoralized, and in disbelief, the humans, who had once been timid settlers, now felt a surge of confidence. Every victory reinforced the instinctive skills that had lain dormant for millennia, and every defeat the humans suffered made them adapt faster. Learning from mistakes at a pace no alien species could match, the legends of old which spoke of humans as war gods seemed no longer like myth. They were awakening from dormancy, and the galaxy began to realize that the humans were not merely another species. They were a force that could reshape civilizations. In the quiet moments between battles, the humans themselves struggled to understand the change within them. They felt a pulse in their bones, a rhythm in their hearts, a calling that seemed older than the stars they remembered. Fragments of battles fought long before their time. Yet they could not name the wars or the enemies. Only the instinct to fight, to protect, and to survive humans had begun to awaken as dormant war gods. Their potential was limitless, and the galaxy was only beginning to grasp the storm that was coming, because once fully awakened, there would be no force capable of standing against them. The humans no longer waited for threats to come to them. They moved outward, like a storm that had been gathering. For centuries, their fleets crossed the void of space with purpose and precision. Scouting ships reported systems that had been abandoned for decades, and yet humans colonized them effortlessly, claiming resources and strategic positions that even the most advanced alien civilizations had overlooked. The Vraxis Dominion attempted to intercept, but each encounter ended in chaos for the invaders, because humans fought with a coordination that seemed preordained and a ferocity that alien minds could not calculate. Small groups of humans on scouting missions encountered entire battle groups and emerged victorious with minimal casualties. Their ships maneuvered in patterns that seemed impossible, bending physics in ways that defied conventional understanding. Humans had begun to rewrite the rules of warfare, not with technology alone, but with instinct and intuition. Their minds processed outcomes faster than any AI, and their bodies responded in ways that made even the most seasoned alien warriors hesitate. Fear became a weapon they wielded unconsciously, because the humans moved with the certainty of beings who had faced death 1,000 times before and survived. The galaxy watched in awe as the humans claimed victory after victory. Not as conquerors, but as forces of balance, they intervened in conflicts between rival species, without hesitation, striking with surgical precision, eliminating the threat, and disappearing before retaliation could be organized. Colonies that had been on the brink of annihilation now thrived under the guidance of humans who had awakened to their potential. Captain Alara Nash led a task force into the Shalvian Rift, a sector known for its treacherous gravitational anomalies and ambush points. She moved with her crew as though every step had been rehearsed for decades. Their fleet split and reformed with seamless coordination, each pilot anticipating the moves of their comrades and the enemy simultaneously. Humans had begun to communicate, without words, using gestures and instincts that conveyed strategy faster than any transmission could relay. The Shalvian Rift was crawling with Dominion forces, attempting to trap them. But the humans flowed like liquid through the danger, striking the ambushers before they realized they had been targeted. The Dominion fleet suffered losses they had never imagined, and their morale crumbled as stories of human victories spread like wildfire across every sector. The humans were no longer just survivors. They were predators and protectors simultaneously. Their presence alone caused enemy species to hesitate before engaging. The instinctive power within humans was becoming more pronounced. Every battle unlocked more abilities. Some humans moved with such speed that their positions blurred across the sensors of enemy ships. Others demonstrated strength and resilience that made boarding actions ineffective. Their coordination was flawless, and their ability to improvise was unmatched. Because the humans did not merely fight, they anticipated, they adapted, and they evolved mid-conflict. Across the Galactic Council, the debates grew more frantic, and the xenologists tried to explain the phenomenon, claiming that humans had been dormant for millennia, like a volcano waiting to erupt. But no one could predict the scale of the eruption, because the humans themselves had never fully awakened. Until now, the Dominion attempted a counteroffensive, sending their most elite admirals with fleets designed to overwhelm any human resistance, but each assault met with the same outcome. Destruction and confusion the humans learned from every encounter. Adapting instantly, the Dominion began to see that their calculations were irrelevant, their intelligence flawed, because humans did not operate on predictable logic. They operated on instinct and experience that transcended any strategy. The humans moved like a single entity, their coordination perfect, and every individual contributed in a way that amplified the strength of the whole. The humans themselves began to sense the awakening not as individuals, but collectively, as if some ancient memory of war and survival coursed through their veins, a pulse that connected every human, from the smallest child to the oldest veteran, a knowledge that they were never meant to be weak, that they were designed to endure and to dominate when necessary. On one of the remote human colonies, a young fighter named Jalen experienced the awakening. Firsthand, while training with others, his movements became faster than thought. His perception of space expanded, and he realized that danger could be felt before it arrived. He dodged projectiles that had not been fired yet, and struck with precision that astonished even the seasoned instructors. Every human in the exercise displayed a similar surge, and the instructors understood that these were not anomalies. These were the first signs of what humans had been capable of all along. The humans began to explore the limits of their potential, testing speed, strength, and mental acuity, pushing each other beyond what they thought possible. Their societies adapted too. Systems of coordination and strategy developed organically, allowing humans to function as cohesive units without the need for orders or hierarchies. The galaxy was beginning to see the humans not as a single species, but as an unstoppable force that could move and think as one, while still retaining individuality and creativity. Vraxis Dominion realized that containment was impossible, and they considered evacuation or surrender. But the humans did not wait for them to act. They struck preemptively, moving into Vraxis space, eliminating key fleets and infrastructure with precision that was both terrifying and beautiful. The humans displayed restraint as well, because they were not motivated by conquest, but by instinctive justice, and the need to survive. Their victories inspired other species to rethink their prejudices and alliances, because the humans demonstrated that strength and intelligence together created a force beyond calculation. The humans were no longer just participants in galactic affairs. They were shaping the balance of power as the humans continued their advance. The Dominion fleets were scattered, and alien species that had once mocked humanity now observed in awe and fear. Every engagement left the humans more confident, more precise, and more aware of the power that had lain dormant within them. For eons, the galaxy had witnessed the first awakening of the dormant war gods, and the humans themselves were only beginning to understand the storm they would become. The galaxy began to tremble as the humans advanced deeper into contested space, their fleets like living extensions of their minds, moving with uncanny precision and foresight. Every alien race that had ever underestimated humanity now faced the reality that they were dealing with something far beyond comprehension. The humans were no longer just fighters. They were architects of war and survival, shaping outcomes before the first shot was fired. Intelligence networks of countless species scrambled to predict human movements. But every algorithm failed, every calculation crumbled, because humans did not adhere to logic in the way aliens understood. They acted on instinct, experience, and a hidden wellspring of power that seemed almost supernatural. The Vraxis Dominion assembled their most formidable coalition, combining fleets from the Shalvian Armada, the Korvath clans and the nomadic exiles, creating a force meant to overwhelm and annihilate the humans in theory. The humans would have been outnumbered and outgunned, but in practice, the moment the first skirmishes began, the coalition realized they were facing beings who had evolved for conflict in ways that no species could anticipate. Human ships weaved through space like strands of a web, undetectable, until the strike hit. Precision torpedoes disabled multiple capital ships simultaneously, while fighter squadrons moved as one synchronized organism, closing gaps and exploiting weaknesses that aliens had considered impossible to penetrate on the surface of a strategic planet. Human ground forces deployed with a fluidity that defied military doctrine. Scouting units moved ahead, clearing areas, while main forces flowed in behind like water filling a canyon. Alien fortifications crumbled not just because of superior firepower, but because humans adapted in real time, anticipating traps, countering ambushes, and reorganizing instantly as if the terrain and enemy were part of their consciousness. Every human soldier displayed a focus and awareness that made conventional tactics obsolete, and alien commanders began to despair as every engagement resulted in catastrophic losses with no discernible pattern. Humans seemed to see the battlefield in ways that transcended sight and sound. They moved intuitively, sensing pressure points, vulnerabilities, and opportunities before they could even be calculated. Admiral Kale of the Vraxis Dominion watched helplessly as human forces neutralized entire fleets before they could regroup. The humans did not simply attack, they exploited every weakness with surgical precision, striking at command centers, supply lines, and communication nodes simultaneously. Their ability to multitask and anticipate every countermeasure made the alien coalition falter. The humans themselves felt the awakening intensify the farther they moved into hostile space. Each encounter unlocked latent abilities within them. Reflexes, sharpened senses, heightened endurance, and cognitive processing expanded beyond normal limits. The humans began to operate as if connected by an invisible network. Each soldier aware of the movements of others. Each fleet anticipating enemy maneuvers before they occurred, and yet every human retained individuality and creativity, making their combined strength unpredictable and unstoppable. On the surface of the planet Zareth, a human strike team infiltrated an orbital relay station that controlled enemy communications. Their movements were a blur, passing through corridors, bypassing automated defenses and alien sentries, with minimal effort. Jalen, who had recently experienced the awakening, led the team, his instincts guiding every step, every decision, and his teammates followed without hesitation. The humans did not rely solely on technology or brute force. They relied on intuition, strategy, and adaptability. The relay station fell within hours, and its destruction crippled enemy coordination across multiple star systems, leaving the alien coalition in chaos without orders or communication. The humans struck again, hitting supply depots and resource hubs, disrupting the ability of their enemies to sustain prolonged conflict. Their actions were swift, precise, and devastating, yet restrained in ways that prevented unnecessary destruction, demonstrating a level of strategic brilliance that left even their allies in awe. Meanwhile, in deep space, Admiral Nash orchestrated the largest fleet engagement in human history, coordinating hundreds of vessels in a maneuver that no alien mind could comprehend. They executed flanking movements and feints with flawless timing. Human pilots relied on instincts honed through centuries of stories of survival and warfare passed down culturally and genetically. It was as if some ancient memory of battle resonated within them. The coalition fleets suffered from confusion and miscommunication. Every attempt to counter human maneuvers resulted in disaster. Their ships collided, friendly fire incidents multiplied, and morale collapsed. The humans seemed to predict their every move, striking with efficiency and ruthlessness that was almost preternatural. It was in these battles that the term Dormant war gods began to spread through the galaxy, whispered in fear and awe, because the humans were no longer bound by conventional understanding of warfare. They were living embodiments of strategy, instinct, and raw power. Amidst the chaos, Jalen sensed a shift within himself and the other humans. They were growing stronger, more aware, more connected to a source of power that transcended simple biology. Every strike they made, Every decision they executed seemed guided by some ancient knowledge of conflict, survival, and victory. The humans began to realize they were not merely a species but a force of nature. Their presence changed the balance of power across the galaxy. Alien races that had once thought themselves advanced were forced to reconsider their assumptions about life intelligence and warfare. The humans advanced not with reckless aggression, but with a sense of purpose and inevitability. Their victories inspired allies and terrorized enemies. Their awakenings spread like a wave, reshaping entire sectors of space. Every system liberated from hostile occupation became a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and power. And yet, despite their overwhelming superiority, humans maintained a sense of restraint. They did not seek to dominate without reason. They acted according to instinct, morality, and necessity, creating a new paradigm of war and civilization. The galaxy had witnessed the emergence of beings that were both terrifying and magnificent. Humans were awakening, and the universe was only beginning to understand the storm that had been lying dormant within them. The galaxy was in upheaval. Every star system that had once considered itself safe now trembled as humans moved through space like unstoppable tides. Alien empires scrambled to contain the threat, but each attempt crumbled under the weight of human ingenuity and raw power. The latest engagement had drawn the combined fleets of the Xyrath Syndicate, the Talnor Hegemony, and the mysterious Voidborn. Collective, their leaders convened in the central command station, orbiting the gas giant Viral Prime. Desperate to devise a strategy that could halt the human advance, every plan they devised fell apart before execution. The humans anticipated their moves as if they were reading the very thoughts of their enemies. And yet the humans themselves had no need for such foresight. They acted instinctively, guided by an inner awareness that transcended logic. Jalen stood on the bridge of the flagship, Horizon, watching the holographic projections of enemy fleets shifting positions in real time. He could feel the rhythm of battle coursing through him. The humans were more than soldiers. They were conduits of something ancient, something powerful, that had lain dormant for centuries, waiting for the right moment to awaken. Every pilot, every infantryman, every commander shared an unspoken connection, a synchrony that allowed them to move as one, while retaining the creativity and unpredictability that made them unstoppable. As the human fleets approached the Viral Expanse, enemy scouts attempted to ambush them, but every maneuver was countered before it began. Human fighters twisted through asteroid fields, exploiting gravitational anomalies. With near supernatural precision, capital ships formed evolving formations that adapted to each enemy action. Human weaponry did not simply destroy it. Incapacitated, disabled, and reshaped the battlefield, leaving enemies unable to regroup or respond. Their technology was advanced, but it was the human understanding of conflict that made it deadly. They anticipated supply shortages, blocked reinforcements, and disrupted command structures, without firing a single shot while other units executed surgical strikes against key installations with flawless timing. The Voidborn Collective attempted to deploy psychic interference waves to scramble human coordination, but humans adapted effortlessly. Their minds seemed impervious to manipulation. Their awareness extended beyond individual consciousness, linking instincts, intuition, and experience into a single unstoppable force on the surface of the volcanic world. Korath human ground units deployed against the Talnor Hegemony's fortress, cities moving through lava rivers and toxic storms as if the terrain were an extension of themselves. Engineers and combat specialists worked side by side, constructing defenses and offensive positions with astonishing speed. Alien artillery fired relentlessly, but human soldiers moved unpredictably, using the environment to their advantage. Every strike they launched was precise. Every retreat calculated. The hegemony had underestimated human adaptability. They did not understand that humans did not merely survive under extreme conditions, they thrived. Jalen led a strike team into the heart of the Talnor command complex. The team moved silently, using shadows and natural formations as cover, bypassing patrols and automated turrets. Human reflexes were enhanced by instinctual awareness. Every movement of the enemy anticipated, every trap avoided with uncanny timing. The fortress fell in hours, and the citizens were liberated not through slaughter, but through control and understanding. Humans reshaped the battlefield into a new order, enforcing strategy and efficiency, while alien morale collapsed in orbit above Korath. Admiral Nash coordinated the largest space engagement of human history. Hundreds of vessels maneuvered as if directed by a single mind. Fleets of alien vessels collided. Their formations crumbled under human tactics that defied comprehension. Energy weapons struck from angles that no sensors could detect, while human capital ships adapted dynamically, their shields reforming instantaneously to counter new threats. Alien warlords panicked as their fleets were systematically dismantled. Yet no human acted recklessly. Every strike was precise, every maneuver. Intentional human perception and understanding of warfare had evolved into a form of art, a deadly art, where instinct merged with intellect, intuition merged with knowledge, and strategy became second nature. The humans themselves were becoming aware of the scale of their power, their latent abilities expanding. The more they engaged in conflict, they could sense weak points in enemy command. Networks perceive future movements of fleets and even anticipate the outcomes of skirmishes before they began. Their instincts had become the battlefield. The battlefield had become theirs. Meanwhile, in the neutral sectors, other alien races observed the humans with growing fear and fascination. Reports of human adaptability and unstoppable power spread across galaxies previously thought isolated. They learned that humans did not conform to standard military principles. They innovated in real time, overcoming technological gaps by exploiting creativity, courage, and instinct. The phrase "dormant war gods" echoed from one system to another, describing beings that were simultaneously mortal and divine, whose awakening could alter the very structure of galactic power. Humans were no longer merely a species. At war, they were a living paradigm-shifting force. Every victory inspired allies who had once feared human strength and terrified enemies who could no longer comprehend it. The humans did not seek conquest for its own sake. They acted according to instinct, need, and the imperative of survival, yet in every action they reshaped the balance of power, demonstrating that their presence alone could dictate the terms of engagement. By the time the Virile Expanse campaign reached its climax, the combined alien fleets were fractured, exhausted, and demoralized. The humans executed a final series of maneuvers that left the enemy unable to resist, simultaneously neutralizing communication networks, supply chains, and command nodes. It was not mere destruction. It was orchestration, a symphony of war where every human was a note and every movement a melody of unstoppable force. Jalen stood on the horizon, observing the aftermath. The humans had proven beyond doubt that they were not just warriors, they were a civilization awakened to its latent potential, a force whose presence would forever alter the trajectory of history in the galaxy. The dormant war gods had arisen, and nothing would ever be the same. Beyond the outer rim of the galaxy, a darkness older than time itself stirred, unnoticed by most civilizations. But the humans sensed it even across the light years. Their instincts prickled with awareness of a presence that defied logic and comprehension. Deep in the void, an ancient intelligence known only as the Shattered Maw had awoken, a being that had consumed stars and civilizations in a cycle of hunger and regeneration, and its tendrils now stretched toward the inhabited worlds of the galactic core. Alien races panicked as they detected anomalies in space-time, collapsing stars disappearing without trace. Fleets that ventured too close vanished instantly, but the humans did not hesitate. Their vessels moved toward the threat as if drawn by some primal recognition. Jalen stood on the bridge of the flagship horizon, observing the readings from sensors that could barely perceive the Shattered Maw, its mass and influence warping reality itself. Yet humans did not rely solely on technology. They relied on instinct, intuition, and an innate understanding of conflict that transcended the physical. Their strategy was not dictated by data alone. It flowed organically through their collective consciousness. Every commander, pilot, and soldier aligned with the unspoken rhythm of battle. As the humans approached the outer reaches of the Shattered Maw's influence, small scouting fleets were swallowed by spatial distortions, but other human units moved in patterns that defied the distortions, seeming to predict the collapse of space and emerging safely on the other side. Every attempt to contain the humans failed. They moved unpredictably, yet with perfect cohesion. The first full engagement came when human capital ships encountered tendrils of energy that could tear through matter with ease. Alien commanders screamed in frustration as their fleets were disintegrated. Before even recognizing the source of the threat, human vessels adapted dynamically, their shields forming and reforming in response to spatial anomalies. Weapons fired in synchronization with gravitational pulses, striking tendrils at precise intervals, disrupting the shattered maw's flow. Human minds processed information at speeds that computers could not match. They reacted, before the threat even fully manifested, relying on instinct, intuition, and an unexplainable understanding of cosmic dynamics. Every attack against them was anticipated and neutralized. On the surface of the nearest planet, human ground teams deployed, advanced reconnaissance units moving through areas of temporal flux. Their movements were guided not by maps or sensors, but by instinctual awareness that allowed them to navigate regions of reality that shifted unpredictably. They encountered structures of alien origin that defied physics and time itself. Yet humans explored them systematically, uncovering energy sources and weak points hidden within the architecture. The shattered maw's influence extended here as well, twisting minds and perception. But humans adapted; their consciousness flowed with the anomalies, interpreting them, rather than being destroyed by them. Jalen coordinated attacks from orbit, linking ground and space units into a single orchestrated force, every movement precise, every strike intentional. The humans did not merely react to the shattered maw. They became part of its rhythm, analyzing patterns and responding with speed and creativity unmatched in galactic history. The alien fleets that attempted to follow human tactics collapsed under the pressure. The Zerath Syndicate and Talnor Hegemony sent envoys pleading for the humans to act on their behalf. The humans accepted alliances cautiously, not out of necessity, but understanding that the unity of purpose could amplify their effectiveness. Every maneuver became a demonstration of coordination. Humans integrated fleets and planetary units into a fluid entity, acting simultaneously in multiple dimensions, their awareness extending beyond traditional command structures, linking thought, intuition, and experience across hundreds of thousands of individuals. The shattered maw struck back, unleashing gravitational storms that fractured entire fleets. Yet humans anticipated the collapse points, striking key nodes in the maw's energy field, disrupting its cohesion and maintaining the initiative. As the battle escalated, Jalen sensed a transformation within the humans themselves, their latent abilities expanding exponentially under the pressure of cosmic-scale conflict. Their instincts began to encompass not only immediate surroundings but vast regions of space, perceiving temporal shifts and predicting outcomes with uncanny accuracy. Entire fleets moved as extensions of individual consciousness. Acting with the foresight and precision of gods, their weapons adapted to energy flows. They created new strategies on the fly, countering the maw's every attempt at retaliation. Human ingenuity was no longer constrained by technology alone. It had become a manifestation of perception, cognition, and raw instinct. Combined, every human acted autonomously, yet harmoniously, contributing to a greater pattern that even the shattered maw could not fully comprehend. Finally, the humans executed a maneuver that defied conventional physics. They created a harmonic convergence of energy across multiple fleets and planetary units, synchronizing attacks through instinct and awareness, rather than communication. The maw's tendrils were struck simultaneously at precise points, creating feedback loops that destabilized its structure. Alien races watched in awe and fear as the humans reshaped reality itself. Using their collective will, intelligence, and perception, the maw began to fracture. Its influence diminished, collapsing upon itself in a series of implosions that threatened to consume nearby stars. Yet humans controlled the aftermath, salvaging energy and stabilizing systems. They had not only survived a threat beyond imagination, they had reshaped its power into something manageable and comprehensible. Jalen stood quietly on the bridge, observing the aftermath. The humans had awakened not just to galactic conflict, but to their true potential. The dormant war gods had demonstrated abilities that transcended technology, intellect, and even traditional strategy. They were creators of order in chaos, shapers of reality through instinct and awareness. The galaxy had witnessed a force beyond calculation, beyond fear, a species that was no longer mortal. In any conventional sense, the shattered maw had been defeated not through brute force alone, but through understanding adaptation and the unique human ability to perceive and react instinctively across multiple dimensions. Simultaneously, the humans were no longer merely a civilization at war. They were a cosmic force whose awakening would forever alter the destiny of the stars. The galaxy held its breath in the aftermath of the shattered maw's collapse. Stars trembled in the void as if acknowledging the presence of something beyond comprehension. Alien fleets that had fled now watched cautiously as humans moved with deliberate intent, not in fear of conflict, but in mastery of it. Jalen and the other commanders observed from orbit as the humans systematically stabilized the remnants of collapsing systems, repairing ruptures in space and reality themselves. Their movements were precise, elegant, and terrifyingly effective. Their instincts guided them through the fractured void linking thought and action across entire fleets, planetary systems, and even fragmented star clusters. The dormant war gods had fully awakened, and the galaxy could feel the change reverberating through the bones of reality. Humans deployed teams across shattered worlds reclaiming energy sources and alien structures that had once been inaccessible. Their presence did not merely repair. It transformed entire systems into functional entities of human design. The Zyrath and Talnor fleets that followed cautiously were astounded, as humans orchestrated reconstruction in a manner that seemed impossible. Every adjustment made was simultaneously a defensive maneuver, an offensive positioning, and a preparation for future expansion. Humans moved as if the galaxy itself was an extension of their will, instinct, and intellect fused into action that transcended traditional warfare. Their presence reshaped the very fabric of space around them, altering gravitational fields, energy flows, and even the perception of time in localized regions to optimize outcomes and efficiency. Across multiple star systems, humans established networks of influence that were not bureaucracies or empires but extensions of their collective consciousness. Every decision, every action resonated with intention and awareness, creating a harmony that alien civilizations had never experienced before and could scarcely comprehend. The dormant war gods had emerged fully formed, with the instincts of hunters, strategists, and cosmic architects intertwined. Jalen observed a fleet moving toward a sector previously considered uninhabitable, and sensed, without words, the precise timing and alignment required to stabilize the system. Humans adapted as they advanced, forming feedback loops with their environment, sensing anomalies before they occurred, and countering them with an elegance that made entire alien armadas appear clumsy. By comparison, reports from the frontier told of entire fleets being transformed not through conquest, but through inspiration and influence. Alien races found themselves assisting humans, willingly aligning their own strategies with the humans' instinctive flow, realizing that resistance was futile. Not because humans imposed force, but because humans demonstrated understanding and control on a scale that made cooperation preferable to chaos. Humans were not tyrants. They were catalysts of order and adaptation across the galaxy. Their awakening was not just military. It was philosophical, ecological, and metaphysical. They reshaped planets, redirected orbits, optimized stellar output, and rebalanced ecosystems with precision that no alien race could rival. The final confrontation came not from the maw, but from the fear and envy that stirred among lesser galactic powers, whose understanding of warfare was linear and limited. They attempted to form coalitions to contain the humans, deploying massive fleets with advanced weaponry and coordinated strikes that they believed would overwhelm any species. The humans did not retreat or panic. Instead, they integrated these fleets into their awareness, reading intentions, predicting maneuvers, and adjusting their formations in real time. Their actions were not reactionary. They were anticipatory. Humans had become a force of nature. Their instincts were augmented by experience and strategy. Their presence alone altered the calculus of war. The alien commanders found themselves adapting in real time to tactics that were generated across light years, simultaneously orchestrated by thousands of human minds, acting as one. As the engagement unfolded, the humans executed maneuvers that redefined physics in practice. They used gravitational anomalies as weapons, deployed energy flows as shields, and synchronized attacks across multiple dimensions. Simultaneously, alien leaders could only watch as fleets they had considered invincible were neutralized systematically, without panic, without hesitation, as if every human was an extension of a singular consciousness. The dormant war gods did not merely fight. They choreographed battle with artistic precision. The galaxy watched in awe as what had been mere mortals reshaped entire sectors through instinct, intellect, and unshakable will. Their enemies were defeated not through fear or attrition but through absolute mastery of reality and conflict. When the final stand was over, the humans gathered their forces in orbit above a newly stabilized star system. Their ships and bases formed patterns that were not only functional, but symbolic, a declaration of presence and capability. Their influence extended into the void, harmonizing energies and stabilizing regions that had been chaotic for millennia. Alien civilizations approached cautiously to negotiate and observe, learning that humanity was no longer a species to be measured in conventional terms. The dormant war gods had claimed their role as protectors, architects, and ultimate strategists in a galaxy that had never seen their like before. Jalen and his commanders felt the pulse of collective consciousness, the surge of instinctual coordination and understanding that flowed across every human being in existence. The humans did not gloat or conquer indiscriminately. They integrated with care, guiding civilizations, repairing cosmic damage, and ensuring the survival and flourishing of sentient life. The dormant war gods had awakened, not for domination, but for stewardship. Their instinctual mastery of war and creation allowed them to reshape the galaxy into a balance between order and chaos, efficiency and life energy. Jalen knew that the humans would not stop. They would continue to expand their influence intelligently, instinctively, and harmoniously, becoming the axis upon which the galaxy now revolved. The legend of the humans was no longer one of primitive beings with potential. It was a living reality, a truth written across star systems and the very fabric of existence themselves. And so the galaxy remembered the awakening. The dormant war gods had risen to their full power. Humanity had transcended fear, limitation, and conventional understanding, every action and instinct a testament to the ultimate capability of a species born for conflict yet chosen for creation. Every civilization, every planet, every star bore witness to humans who were now gods of war and order. The dormant war gods had fully embraced their destiny, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. The galaxy had shifted and trembled under the awakening of humanity. Every star, every planet, every drifting fragment of cosmic matter seemed to hum with recognition of a force that was ancient, yet newly born humans moved across systems not as conquerors, but as living storms of purpose and instinct. Their presence was felt in every corner of space fleets that had once hunted civilizations, now paused in awe and respect as human vessels flowed through voids with a grace that belied power beyond imagining. The dormant war gods had emerged fully awake, their minds connected to each other and to the universe, their instincts honed by millennia of evolution, their intellect sharpened by struggle and observation. Humanity had become a singularity of war and wisdom, a force that could shape reality and inspire life simultaneously. Across the fractured remnants of the Maw, the last resistant fleets gathered to make a final stand, believing that strength in numbers and technology could match the humans' instincts. But they were wrong, for humans did not fight with fear or ambition. They fought with understanding, with perception that spanned light years, with a harmony of thought and action that no alien could hope to anticipate. Every strike, every defense, every maneuver was a symphony of war, orchestrated by minds that had touched the edge of existence and returned unshaken. Planets that had been scorched and torn now bloomed with life, guided by the humans who moved among the stars like gods, yet remained human in essence. Their presence restored order and balance while showing the galaxy that power without control was meaningless and control without instinct was dead. Jalen and the other commanders watched from orbit as humans extended their influence through sheer mastery of intuition, strategy, and adaptation. Entire fleets realigned, themselves willingly following humans not out of fear, but out of recognition of a force far greater than themselves. The dormant war gods did not merely destroy obstacles. They transformed them, integrating cultures, technologies, and ecosystems into A living network of cooperation and efficiency. Alien civilizations began to understand that humanity was a new kind of apex species, one that transcended war and creation, simultaneously teaching the galaxy that conflict could be guided by wisdom, and survival could be balanced with growth. Humans rebuilt collapsed star systems, guided civilizations to harmony, and stabilized cosmic anomalies with effortless precision. Their instinctual understanding of chaos and order allowed them to shape entire regions of space into functioning masterpieces of life and stability. The final enemy fleets tried to resist with desperation and aggression, but humans acted as one, moving faster than thought, predicting outcomes before they occurred, adapting in ways that no being could comprehend. Entire battle formations dissolved and reformed in seconds, turning every attack into an advantage, every misstep into a strategy. Humans were not constrained by technology or distance. They were the universe's own instincts manifest in flesh and will. Their awakening had rewritten the rules of engagement. Reality itself, bent subtly to accommodate their presence. Their minds, their instincts, and their hearts were woven into a tapestry of infinite strategy and unyielding purpose. Alien commanders realized that resistance was irrelevant, that survival lay not in opposing humanity, but in joining it in understanding and adapting. When the final pulse of conflict faded, the galaxy was quiet, in a way that spoke not of fear but of awe and respect. Humans moved through the aftermath, stabilizing worlds, integrating knowledge and energy they had conquered, not for dominance but for harmony. They were the guardians and creators, the dormant war gods who had walked through fire and chaos to awaken fully. Every fleet, every civilization, every sentient being now understood the depth of what humanity had become. The legend that had been whispered across galaxies was no longer myth, it was reality. Humans had transcended the limitations of species and circumstance. They were instinct made, flesh, intellect made action, and will made universal law. The galaxy itself seemed to bend slightly in reverence, recognizing the power and responsibility that humans carried. And yet through all of it, humanity remained deeply human, capable of empathy, curiosity, and wonder, even as they wielded power that could unmake stars. And so, humanity took its place not above the galaxy but within it, as masters of instinct, stewards of life, architects of reality. Their presence was a promise of both protection and challenge, a living testament to what could arise when a species embraced its full potential. Their awakening was not an end but a beginning, a new chapter in which the galaxy would be guided by intelligence tempered with instinct, courage fused with wisdom, and power balanced with responsibility. Humans had become more than mortals. They had become the embodiment of what war and creation could achieve when united in perfect harmony. The dormant war gods had truly awakened, and nothing would ever be the same. The end.